कुठे गेली? हा. गुड इव्हनिंग एव्हरीवन. आज आपल्या IPS वेस्ट झोनच्या डॉक्टर वेलनेस कमिटीच्या कदाचित हा शेवटचाच आता एक कार्यक्रम आपण ऑर्गनाईज करतोय, झूम मीटिंग. आपल्याला आज लावलेले आहेत आपल्या वेस्ट झोनचे अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर सुधीर भावे सर, आणि आज आपल्यासोबत स्पिरिच्युअल वेलनेस याच्यावरती बोलणार आहे डॉक्टर मनोज भाटवडेकर सर. भाटवडेकर सर जवळपास 1986 पासून सायकॅट्रीमध्ये पूर्णपणे प्रॅक्टिस करतायत, जवळपास मोर दॅन 4 डिकेड्स ऑफ एक्सपिरियन्स. आणि ही हॅज वर्क इन व्हेरियस एरियाज. ही इज अ नॉव्हेलिस्ट. मराठीमध्ये त्यांनी लहान मुलांवर नॉवेल्स लिहिलेले आहेत. आणि अशा ही इज ट्रेंड इन ओशो मेडिटेशन, डिसिपल ऑफ म्युझिक, सिंगर, लिरिसिस्ट, मल्टीफॅसेटेड पर्सनॅलिटी. आणि त्यांच्याकडनं आज आपण स्पिरिच्युअल वेलनेसवर ऐकूया. सर, भावे सर.
Thank you, Manish. I reiterate whatever Manish has said. And in fact, it's a great pleasure to have Dr. Manoj Bhatavadekar today speaking to all of us. I have the pleasure of knowing Manoj for the past many decades. And I'll just tell a few things about him, that he's heavily into meditation, spirituality. And I had the pleasure and privilege of attending a meditation camp conducted by him in Lonavala several years back. Manoj, I think that must be 7-8 years. Yeah, so nearly, so about 8-9 years back. And for those 3 days of the meditation camp, I mean, largely taught by Manoj, I mean, we were exposed to a wide variety of meditation techniques. And when I came back to Nagpur, I started practicing them and found them benefiting me significantly. Later on, Manoj met me at a conference, and he gave me a book authored by him on the kind of miracles that meditation can achieve. And I mean, it was his own personal story. I don't know, he might tell more about that. But I strongly recommend you all reading that book. I mean, just to get a glimpse of what meditation can do. So, as I said earlier, it's really a privilege to have a person of his experience, his expertise in the field to guide all of us. I mean, when we started with the topic, I mean, the subcommittee had difficulty finding case, sir, spirituality pe kaun psychiatrist bolega? So I said, I can think of the first name that comes to my mind is Dr. Manoj Bhatavadekar. And so here he is. So thank you, Manish. And over to you, Manoj.
Yes, good evening. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the outset, thank you, West Zone Psychiatric Society, for having invited me today to share my views and my experiences about spirituality for doctors. Thank you, Manish and Sudhir, for your kind words. And yes, I still remember the active enthusiasm with which Sudhir had participated in the meditation camp. And I'll talk a little more about it. Well, first of all, we need to understand that this word spirituality शब्द बदनाम हो चुका है. It's a badnaam word for various reasons. The first thing that we need to understand is that I'll just share my screen. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So as I was saying, spirituality has different connotations for different people. And for some people, spirituality means God. For some people, it means religion. For some people, it means doing certain ritualistic practices. For some people, it means a waste of time. For some people, it means something that is non-scientific, so doctors should not even talk about it. So today, I want to give a brief review, which is based on evidence and experience about what spirituality is all about and how we as doctors can embrace it and can use it in our own life and also recommend it to our patient population, to our friends, neighbors, colleagues, relatives, etc. Now, a disclaimer to begin with. I am not a guru. I am not a healer. I am not a motivational speaker. I am not a philosopher. I'm not a life coach. I'm not a purpose coach. I'm not a salesman. I'm not a positive thinker. I'm not a spiritual guide. I'm not a preacher or an advisor, or I'm not a follower of a cult. When I hear these words, this is the expression that I have on my face when I hear these terms these days. Because all these people, I have nothing against any of them per se, but under the guise of all these names, what people have done is people have marketed spirituality. And spirituality has become a big business. It's become a huge business, and nobody knows what is true, what is not true. Nobody knows what is real spirituality, what is not real spirituality. Nobody knows what is truth and what is pseudo truth. And therefore, my whole approach to today's talk is that of so I am a practitioner of spirituality myself, and of course I am a practicing psychiatrist, so I am a combination of both these. So my role in today's talk is, it's a friend's sharing, as if I'm just sharing it with you all. As I said, I don't market spirituality. I practice spirituality and share it with people who are interested. Since I presume that you are interested in knowing more about this topic, that's why I'm here and you all are here. I remember an interesting, funny story told by Osho once, that it's a story about Mullah Nasruddin, and Osho has talked a lot about Mullah Nasruddin stories. And he talks about an incident where Mullah Nasruddin was once walking on a street. It was pitch dark, and he suddenly heard some noise of people coming, and he thought they are robbers or thieves and they might attack him. So he got scared and he saw a wall and he jumped over the wall, and he was into a crematorium. To his surprise, it was a crematorium. But he said, now let me hide it at least. So then there was a cover, which was a grave which was dug. And so he quietly immersed himself inside and just lay there silently. In the meantime, some of those people who were approaching, and that was some festivity kind of a procession, and they were not robbers or thieves or anything. And one of those people from the procession, saw Mullah jumping over the wall, and so they got worried about what is happening to this man. So out of concern, two people jumped over the wall and they found him there, lying in the dug cover. And then they asked Mullah, what are you doing here? And Mullah said, what are you doing here? And then they said, we are here because you are here. And Mullah said, you are here because I'm here because you are here. So something similar. Why are we here together? I am here because you are here, and you are here because I'm here. And that's what spirituality is all about. It's all about connection. Okay. So let's be sincere, not serious. Now I'll begin with a story of a doctor who had a difficult phase in his life. When he was 35 years old, one fine day he got up from his consulting chair and something gave way in his knee and he fell down. And out of the blue, there was a sudden effusion in his knee, there was a swelling in his knee, and he couldn't get up. So he needed the help of his receptionist who made him get up, and then suddenly he found the knee was very heavy, inflamed. Suddenly, out of the blue, one fine moment it happened. And then in the next week, all his joints were kind of fired. Both his knees, one elbow, one shoulder, fingers, feet, all the major and minor joints were affected. They were all inflamed. And he was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. He tried all the therapies, he read all the books. He was put on immunosuppressant medication, he was put on anti-inflammatory and analgesic medication. He started receiving physiotherapy for 2 hours a day. And at the end of 1.5 year, the recovery was just about 40 to 50%. His life was miserable. He was at the peak of his career. Almost, you can say he was successful in his career as a doctor. And his life had become so miserable that he became actually almost depressed. And he's a disciple of music too. So one of his gurus, his music guru, said, "I'm going for a meditation camp. Will you come with me?" And he said, "Yes, of course I will come." And he happened to attend an Osho meditation camp. And at the end of the camp, on the third day, what he discovered was when he forgot to take the afternoon dose of his analgesic anti-inflammatory medicine, and there was no pain. That was a moment of revelation for him. And then he said, "No, this seems to make some sense. All these days, all these years, all these months, if I skipped one dose also, the pain was excruciating, the pain was severe. This is something." So the meditation camp was over, but he started regularly practicing meditation, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the night, 1 hour in the evening. And after about 3 to 6 months, his anti-inflammatory doses went down, his inflammations went down, and in the next about 1.5 to 2 years, he was off medicines completely. He was inflammation free, he was medication free. And I know that person very well, and I know that person so well, especially after his meditation, and that person happens to be none other than me, myself. It's my own story of recovery of rheumatoid arthritis doing meditation. And this is the book that I wrote after 10 years of my recovery, Eka Punarjanmachi Katha. And the story is a true story. It's a narrative of the entire journey of rheumatoid arthritis. And as Sudhir mentioned, it also mentions various incidents of meditation camps, which I later on conducted because I was then trained as a facilitator in meditations. At my age of 35, I got rheumatoid arthritis, which taught me a lesson, which taught me that getting a disease is not the end of everything. In fact, for me, it was the beginning of something which was a new opening in my life. It opened the doors to a new world completely, which I was completely oblivious to till then. A hardcore scientist, trained in biological psychiatry, trained in research, evidence-based, turned to something like meditation, which was spiritual, which was subjective, which couldn't be measured, but the results were tangible. The results were measurable. The results were palpable. And then I started sharing my meditation with people, my spiritual experiences with people. I started conducting meditation camps, and it helped so many people. The point is, this was an added dimension to my scientific repertoire. This was not, so science was not replaced by spirituality. Please understand that. A new way of looking at life, a new way of looking at science, a new way of looking at spirituality is what I got. So I'm immensely grateful for my rheumatoid arthritis in that sense. Correct? Now, what is the status of our population, we the psychiatrists? What are we dealing with day in and day out? And you see, Sudhir also is senior. I'm sure there might be some more senior people in the audience. I've been practicing for more than 35, 37 years, and life has changed a lot. Modern life has become so complex. You know, even the cases that we see, I'm sure you will agree with me that the nature of their presentations has changed. Children, adolescents who come to us, young generation who comes to us for treatment, or even young adults who come to us for treatment, people from corporate culture who come to us for treatment, their presentations have drastically changed over years. Life has become really, really very complex. So there is so much of information overload that people, before they come to you, they've already diagnosed themselves. They've already decided what not to take. So no medication, doctor, right? Or I want this therapy. Or I am suffering from this syndrome, and names which we haven't heard. So internet is full of so much of modern jargon which appears very senseless, irrelevant, impractical to us. So there is so much of information overload. On one hand, there is so much of digital connectivity. Every moment there is FOMO. If you don't switch, if you don't click on your phone, there's fear of missing out. On the other hand, you're so lonely. I mean, I find so many people who are digitally connected with so many people, but inside they feel so lonely. Expectations about life have increased, parents especially so, right? The parental population that we come across in our practice, they have, in fact, I often say that the word parent, P-A-R-E-N-T, is an acronym for P for pressure, A for ambition, R for reproach, E for expectations, N for nagging, and T for tension. Isn't that so? So parental expectations have increased. Expectations of bosses about employees have increased. Expectations of employees about the organizations have increased. So it's all a game of expectations and resultant miseries. Life has changed so rapidly. It's become so uncertain, especially after we all went through the COVID pandemic. Boundaries have become blurred. Boundaries between personal, workplace, profession, the boundaries have become blurred, and we are not able to demarcate very clearly. Relationships have become very complex. If I just plain and simple ask a teenager or a young adult about friends, the first thing he or she might say, no, it's a little complicated. Said, I am asking a simple question. What is complicated about it? No, I'll explain. It's a bit complicated. And then they'll tell you the whole story. Economic pressures are more. And in general, there is a quest for balance between what is right, what is wrong, what is ethical, what is unethical, what is moral, what is immoral, what is expected, what is not expected, what is healthy, what is unhealthy. Social media are bombarding you with a lot of information about, 4 signs that your partner may be cheating you, and then you start following it, and then you discover all those signs in your partner and spoil the relationships. Everything has become so unbalanced, and all this is on a foundation of mental health stigma. So mental health stigma has reduced to some extent, however, not to the extent that we would like it to be. So on one hand, there is ignorance. On the other hand, there is stigma. On the other hand, there is over information, over exposure. And we as psychiatrists are caught up in this struggle. There are several studies which have been published about stress of doctors, but I've just chosen a couple of them which pertain to psychiatrists. So there is a lot of burnout, depression among psychiatrists, and burnout, as we understand, is an experience. It's more of a, it's not a diagnostic entity, right? There is no DSM category called burnout, and it is a dimensional characteristics in the sense that it's not a category. Burnout has various kinds of symptoms. There is exhaustion, there is depersonalization, there is fatigue, there may be anxiety, there is might be depression, all these things. But any colleague that I meet nowadays says, "Oh, I am bogged down by work. I am so much under pressure. I don't know how to deal with my work stress." And I've had a couple of junior psychiatrists also who have come to me saying that, "Sir, please help me out." The other day I saw 70 patients. I said, "You saw 70 patients, meaning you just made them stand in a row and saw them, or you actually examined them? How is it humanly possible?" So in the bargain, so one, it takes a toll on your own health. On the other hand, how can you maintain quality of your work? So you're compromising on your own health, compromising on the quality of your work. In this study, what they found, this is a recent study, 2024, right? Depression among psychiatrists and psychiatry trainees. 1/10 of psychiatrists and psychiatry trainees had depression, although the prevalence of depression was not extremely high. The key contributing factors were loneliness, work satisfaction, work stress, ability to control the work schedule. These are the factors which should be required to action. So these are the things which need to be addressed. I recently saw a doctor who came to me saying that, "Doctor, I stay in the same building. I have a nursing home on the ground floor and I stay on the first floor. And I don't have time to eat." I said, "Why?" "No, because there are patients." I said, "If you're running a nursing home, there will be patients. Why don't you eat on time?" "No, no, no, no. If I go out, then people start complaining." I said, "How? People start complaining about the fact that the doctor is gone for lunch? Are you scared of that?" And then he had acid reflux. And this is a true story. He had interstitial cystitis. He had overactive bladder because he wouldn't even go to the loo. Can you imagine that? If you are going to do this to your schedule because you're scared that patients might complain, why can't you? I told him, why can't you just tell the patients, just go out into the waiting room, tell them 20 minutes break for lunch. Excuse me, you can read, you can listen to music, watch TV, whatever you like, and I'll be back. With a smile, if you can say this and just go up and have lunch and come back, you will be happy, your wife will be happy, right? Is it impossible? What are we doing to our schedules? High burnout rate among psychiatrists, this systematic review again. So there are different studies. What I'm trying to say, there are scientific studies, and more than scientific studies, I'm sure there are individual experiences of all of us which pertain to the work. Now, this brings us to this concept of the PNEI axis. What do you see here? It's an orchestra, it's a symphony, instruments, people playing in symphony, in unison, and a group of people singing. Just imagine one instrument going out of tune. एक instrument बेसुरा हो जाता है, क्या होगा? The entire symphony is fired. The entire orchestra is spoiled, right? That's exactly what our PNAI axis is all about. Psychoneuroendocrine immune axis. So your mental functions, your CNS neurological functions, hormonal functions, and immune system, they all work together as an orchestra, as a symphony. And as we have learned in physiology in first MBBS, the basic purpose of the entire body mind unit is homeostasis. So bringing everything in order, right? So if that is the purpose, So your body and mind, your entire PNEI axis is trying its best to bring you to a state of homeostasis, normalcy, balance. And we are going against the PNEI axis by overexposing us to work, to things which are not necessary, things which are not neither urgent nor important, things which actually we know are detrimental to our health. We are not doing things which are useful for our health. And in the bargain, what happens is this entire PNAI axis finally gives way, and then there is sickness. I learned this lesson in a hard way. My autoimmune disorder of rheumatoid arthritis was a result of these disturbances in this axis. The hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis or the gut-brain axis are microcosms of the PNEI axis. We know that, right? If we take care, if we understand, so if there is a disease, we treat only one of these with medication. Yes, it will work. Not that it doesn't work, but there needs to be something which goes above and above and beyond all of them. What goes above and beyond all of them? So what is the highest level of functioning that we find in the universe? It's human conscious awareness. So if things start operating from conscious awareness perspective, which goes above all of these, then probably each of these components of the PNAI axis starts getting addressed, right? So we need to understand that it is important for us to treat each of these individually. We need to treat the body, we need to treat the mind, but also go above the body and the mind into a realm which is unseen, which science does not approve of in that sense, which science does not look at, but we have had glimpses of that realm somewhere. And that realm is the spiritual realm. Now, coming to the word spirituality, as I said, spirituality is a badnaam word. What is not spirituality, I'll tell you, before I tell you what spirituality is. First of all, spirituality is not philosophy. Philosophy is intellectual, it's logical, it's analytical. People have come up with theories. That's all. What is philosophy? Philosophy has nothing to do with spirituality at all. Organized religious practices. All the organized religions, whether it is Hinduism, Muslim, Islam, Christianity, Sikh, whatever, what name, and there are hundreds of religions all over the world. Organized religious practices, again, do not have anything to do with spirituality, which is true spirituality. They come close, but it's not the same. In fact, you will agree with me that if the basic purpose of religion is peace and harmony, maximum number of conflicts all over the world, wars, disharmony, whatever that is happening in the world is a result of religious conflicts, right? So have organized religions been successful in restoring peace? Sadly, no. Let us please accept it. Whatever your own personal religious views about any religion are, strong religious views, I have nothing against them. I thoroughly respect them, but please understand that has nothing to do with spirituality. Thirdly, sects and cults. A cult, again, which is headed by a person, and it goes into the formation of a particular belief system. Spirituality has nothing to do with any beliefs. Belief is again logical, belief is again thought. There is no place for belief systems in spirituality. Spirituality is all about experience. Ritualistic practices. If you look at the word spiritual, there is a ritual which is hidden in the word spiritual, but that is just hidden. Spirituality, true spirituality has nothing to do with anything that is ritualistic. Theoretical constructs about God, and there are theists and atheists and agnostics and all of that. Spirituality goes above everything. Whether you believe it in God, whether you don't believe in God, whatever that is, spirituality still exists, right? So all the pseudo teachings, teachings which are given by your religious doctrines, whatever that doctrine may be, have been thoroughly misinterpreted by people, by disciples, and have resulted in pseudo spirituality. So, in short, what I'm trying to tell you is anything that results into controversy, anything that results into division, anything that results into splitting is not spirituality. It cannot be called spiritual. So, what probably is spirituality then? First of all, understand that spirituality belongs to an individual. My spirituality belongs to me. Your spirituality belongs to you as an individual. There cannot be a group spirituality, right? Group religion, yes. Spirituality is individual. It's subjective. It's experiential. See, we have the left brain and the right brain. The left brain, as we all understand, it's analytical, it analyzes, it evaluates, it compares, it's logical, it's mathematical, it talks about right and wrong, ethical, unethical, all of that. Whereas the right brain is holistic, it's experiential. It does not judge. Left brain is highly judgmental. And left brain is required for work, for planning, for, there is a purpose for the left brain. But what's the purpose of the right brain? The right brain gives you peace. The right brain will give you joy. All the things that you enjoy in life, you are enjoying a party with your friends, or you're enjoying some family time together. Where is the left brain involved here? It's just an experience, right? Just an experience of being with nature. You look at a lovely smiling baby, the left brain is bypassed. It's all experiential. So spirituality essentially is experiential. Understand that. Spirituality therefore has everything to do with the right brain, not the left brain. So it is subjective, it is experiential, it is right brain, it is qualitative. You can't measure it. I mean, there are people have come up with rating scales for everything. That's a different story. But if you ask me, spirituality cannot be measured. So ultimately, what is spirituality then? It is not something that is dead or stagnated. It's something that is living here and now. I'm breathing right now. My heart is beating right now. And that experience is spirituality. The moment I start connecting with myself, I connect with my own conscious awareness. I start connecting with something that is higher in me. And through that, I connect with something that is higher. So my individual relationship with life, with existence, with God, whatever you call it, but something that is higher, which makes me bow down. I mean, I joined first MBBS in 1978, and I've still not overcome the wonder of this entire thing called the human body. How does it function? And the moment a person stops breathing, you stop calling that person a person, you stop calling it a body. Right? So see, a breath which goes out, a breath which comes in. As long as the बाहर जाने वाली सांस अंदर आ रही है तो सब तब तक सब ठीक है. The moment it is gone, it's gone. You're finished. Then you're not a person, you're a body there. And then people will dispose you off. Correct? So spirituality is all living, vibrational, it is dynamic. Understand that. And therefore, the basic dictum, if you ask me, which is not written anywhere, but it exists, is that the origin of all human beings is one. The origin of all earth is one, and the origin of all the religions is one. I mean, just as in science, I'll come to that a little later. There is nothing like physics of Hindus and physics of Muslims and physics of Christians. Physics is physics. So there's nothing like spirituality of Hindus and Muslims and Christians and etc. etc. Spirituality, spirituality. Because we are all human beings. If you take a drop of blood and examine under the microscope, whether whatever individual that belongs, it will look identical, right? It doesn't depend on the nationality, it doesn't depend on the religion, the language that a person speaks, or the ritualistic practices that a person follows. And therefore, it's important for us to understand this principle of circulation. Spirit first, mind next, and the body follows. We are aware of the mind-body unit. Being psychiatrists, we are here, the mind level, the brain, the software of the brain, the neurocircuitry. We are so familiar with this. Just a step above this is the spiritual realm. As I said, reach the consciousness, conscious awareness, silence, which is devoid of all thoughts. And then that's the spiritual realm, where thoughts disappear, but you exist. And you exist and you are connected with something that is higher. Now, understand this, that just as the mind and body, we have categorized into two. The categories are just for our convenience, right? Are there any categories? Can you show that this is the body, this is the mind? No. But we still say this is the mind, this is the body. Or all the systems. It's one organic unit. It's all one organic unit. So the oneness that is there in this entire unit, it extends to spirit, because basically it is evolved from the spiritual realm. Understand that. So spirit first, mind next, and body follows. So in other words, what I'm talking is, these are not categories, these are dimensions. It's along the spectrum that you see. You can't say that spiritual realm ends here, mental realm begins, mental realm ends here, physical realm begins. No. So when you start doing something here, so it's like a river which flows like this. The upstream, the middle stream, and the downstream. So this is spiritual realm, mental realm, and the physical realm. When a river is purified upstream, what happens? A clear stream follows downward. So exactly, so when spiritual purification occurs, mental purification occurs, physical purification occurs. If you keep purifying the body and the mind, and the spiritual realm is polluted or contaminated, it will keep getting contaminated. It's like the stream of a river. Okay. So that brings us to the $1 million question. Are spirituality and science opposite of each other? Actually, there are two sides of the same coin, if you ask me. Both begin with a quest. Both have search. You see, science also followed search. Spirituality also followed search. The quest of spirituality is, who am I? Why am I here? What's the purpose of my life? How do I discover myself? How do I get in touch with myself? So again, these are all questions. This is a quest. And both science and spirituality begin with a quest. There is no last word written in both. Both have search as the basic process, as I said, and both happen simultaneously. The only difference is science is objective, spirituality is subjective. When you look at yourself objectively, when you do your own MRI scan, that's science. When you look inside and meditate and scan your entire body from within, that's spirituality. Correct? And both are amoral. What is amoral? Science does not have any morality. It's not immoral, it's amoral. The concept of morality is not here. Morality is all about social life. So true spirituality, true science are both amoral. In that sense, they are just complementing each other. They are two sides of the same coin, but one is subjective and the other is objective, as is seen in this picture. So there is search. You're searching something. When it comes to spirituality, you are searching inside. When it is science, you're searching outside in a laboratory. Okay. So according to me, if you ask me, people with a scientific temperament are the best people to inculcate and promote spirituality. Why? Because we understand science. We are never going to talk nonsense. Understand that. There are a lot of people who don't understand science. They talk a lot of nonsense about science. There are a lot of people who don't understand spirituality. They talk a lot of nonsense about spirituality without any experience. It's just bookish knowledge. And then we are confused. People are confused. So what practices should we as doctors follow? Basically, what we need to follow is relaxed awareness, if you ask me. In one word, the definition is relaxed awareness. What does relaxed awareness mean? If you are relaxed, that means you are just dhila. Then that's not what I mean. By relaxed, I mean you're not tense. If you are only aware, you're over aware, then you become hyper vigilant. There's a flight or fight response which comes into play. And so it has to be a combination of relaxation and awareness. Correct? So you're aware on one hand, at the same time, relaxed on the other. You're relaxed on one hand, but not given into looseness. You're aware at the same time. So I'm aware of what I am doing. It's self-awareness. So spirituality has something to do with self-awareness. And in order to become self-aware, there are different practices like meditation, mindfulness. Now, I'm a trained facilitator in Osho meditations, or maybe now I'm working in a different kind of spiritual organization. But whatever the technique, whatever the path is, it ultimately results into relaxed awareness. Understand that. It might be yoga, it may be Tai Chi, it may be Qigong, it may be chanting. So many paths are there. So you see this picture? So many paths. Ultimately, they all lead to one destination. Now, the problem is there are so many paths. And don't we get so many patients who come and tell us, no, I've done 10 days course of Vipassana, then I did Siddha Samadhi Yoga, and then I'm following Brahma Kumari, and then I'm doing something else. If you ask them, okay, so out of these, what do you practice on a day-to-day basis? Nothing, doctor. I don't get time. Time nahi milta hai. That is where the problem is. So the entire, all these paths are like, why are there so many paths? Because one path may not be suitable for everybody. There are different categories of people, different kinds of people, different temperaments, different personalities. Just as we have a cafeteria, we have a menu. Even Osho meditations has a different, there are active meditations, there are passive meditations, there are different techniques. So in a meditation camp, we teach them all the techniques, or mostly the all important basic techniques. And then the person chooses. So for example, I chose dynamic meditation, Nada Brahma meditation for myself because I found them very useful for me. So if a path works for you, if you find it suitable, if you find it is working for you, stick to it. My suggestion is then don't give it up. Then do it on a regular basis. Be consistent. So is one better than the other? No, because everything ultimately, all rivers finally lead to the sea. So the destination is the same, the path may be different. And the problem with following different paths is, okay, you follow one path, then somebody says, no, this path is not good, you follow this path. So you'll have to come back again and start. So you're wasting time. Correct? So please, my suggestion to all my patients also and to all my friends is, please don't do that. So learn it properly. Practice, learn from an authentic source. Practice consistently. Do not expect anything. I'll share this experience with you. When I started practicing Vipassana, I discovered that my breathing rate was going down. Then, so first it was 10, then it became 6, then it became 4, then it became 2. And then I said, now I must get it to 1. And then I realized, I slapped myself inside. And they said, what are you doing? You want to achieve something even here inside also? You want to achieve? So achievement, getting something, procuring something, becoming successful are all needs of the outer world. Inner world is without expectations. I need to be at peace with myself. I need to be in touch with myself. I need to be in touch with my own conscious awareness. That's it. So without expectations, start on the journey, enjoy the process. And once you have mastered it, once you have it with you, then share it with others. There's a lot of scientific scientific research on gratitude. We have heard a lot about gratitude. Okay, kritagnya raha, kritagya raho, be grateful. We teach children also. Thank you is a magic word. Say thank you, thank uncle, thank auntie, thank your teacher, all that. So saints, masters, and sages have talked about it a lot, but now there's a lot of scientific research, and this is a huge study on gratitude, which talks about neural network functional connectivity. And this is one study which has talked about the central nervous system as well as the autonomic nervous system, because the brain heart coupling also was studied in this research. So gratitude and resentment, two different functional MRI scan pictures were taken, and it was found that the same areas of the brain light up during gratitude as those when you are happy. So what does it mean? The door to happiness is gratitude. If you are grateful, you'll be happy. If you are more grateful, you'll be happier. The more grateful you are on a day-to-day basis, the happier you will be on a day-to-day basis, right? And this is the brain heart coupling, as I said. So with resentment, the heart rate increased. With gratitude, the heart rate dropped. So people who are grateful will probably live longer. So what are the activities related to gratitude? You can write a gratitude diary. You appreciate yourself, stand in front of the mirror before going to bed, appreciate yourself for good things which you have done, appreciate other people. Express gratitude to others, that helps. Verbally, messages, mails. I mean, once in a while, just thank your wife or husband or child, right? And this is important. Be absolutely grateful for everything. When I say everything, for good things, so-called bad things. There is nothing good, nothing bad. My rheumatoid arthritis was a very bad thing when I actually suffered. It was a very good thing because it opened the door to something which is higher. So we have learned this even during the COVID. It's thanks to COVID that we are having this Zoom meeting now. Where was Zoom otherwise? It's thanks to COVID that we started doing online consultations. Otherwise, where was online consultations before that? So several so-called good things arise out of so-called bad things. So different right brain activities you can pursue. It might, as I said, the spiritual, so-called hardcore spiritual activities, pursuing music, your hobbies, painting, sculpture, cooking, dance, photography, calligraphy, gardening, non-dominant hand use, anything that you can choose, but do it with a lot of gratitude, do it with a lot of passion, do it with a lot of love. Otherwise, suddenly at 60, you will realize, oh my God, I have not achieved much. What have I achieved? I have achieved money, I have achieved material wealth, but I'm not happy. Shouldn't happen to psychiatrists, at least. It shouldn't happen to anybody for that matter. Medical professionals are under tremendous stress. And as I said, life has become very, very complex, and it has become very difficult for us to cope with things. So how do you know that you're on the right path? This path, if it makes you joyful, peaceful, compassionate, less judgmental, relaxed, less blaming, less complaining, full of altruistic love. And if somewhere there is a feeling of oneness with everything and others that you feel, then you are on the right path. No need to ask anybody else. You yourself are your own parameter, right? So silence is the language of God, as Rumi says, and all else is poor translation. Spirituality has nothing to do with any language. Spirituality is common to all humankind. Spirituality has everything to do with human consciousness, the fact that we are human. So my earnest request to all of you is, please look at spiritual health as an important dimension of your life, and I wish you all the best and thank you very much. If there are any questions, we can have questions.
Thank you, sir. It was a very wonderful presentation for us on spiritual. What is spirituality as such? As you mentioned, spirituality. Spirituality is not religiosity. What we practice as a religion is not a spirituality, and that's a wonderful idea. And what as a spirituality or meditation we are seeing gratitude, development of gratitude, practicing silence when it is needed. These are the things. Sir, we always advise one question from my side. We always advise sometimes when patient is coming in severe state, like severe anxiety and other things, they come to us and say, I'm practicing meditation, I'm doing yoga, and I'm doing meditative practices. I have seen most of the time that they, in severe stages of anxiety, meditative practices worsen the anxiety. So I advise them to allow them to reduce these things, to wait for some times, and as soon as your anxiety becomes moderate, then start practicing. What is your?
Yes. Now, a simple example I will give you. When people come and tell us that I'm following a path and it's not working for me. Is there something wrong with the path? Or is there something wrong with the way you are practicing the path? Probably the second. It's like this, we know simply, breathing techniques, for example. If you inhale more, it causes more anxiety. If you exhale more, it reduces anxiety. So carbon dioxide buildup is what is required. So people might be following wrong things. Okay. Another thing is, we do not advise these spiritual practices for people with psychosis, people with severe biochemical states. I would recommend that you stabilize the person first with medication. Then ask the person to practice some of the techniques, and that works better. Huh?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah, please.
I am Dr. Vivek Patankar
Yeah.
from Sindhurga, and I want to ask, what is called butterfly hugging? Means you hug yourself. That is butterfly hugging.
Yeah.
And from that you get satisfaction that you are doing the best thing. You should be compassionate.
Yeah, so that's basically just a way of connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are different ways of connecting with yourself. One is actually physical. The other is
Yeah.
looking at, scanning your body from top to bottom.
Okay.
Gratitude for different body parts. I have practiced this myself. I even do it even now. When you are having, say, pain, for example, there's a pain here.
Okay.
Close your eyes and go to that part internally. Connect with that
Yes.
part and thank that part. I've never thanked you so much. I've never thanked you before. You've been working so much for me all these days. Allow me to thank you. So there's a connection with that part which you develop inside. So
Okay.
gratitude for the body is another very important factor. Basically, you are in touch with yourself. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Another terminology is what is called, we hear is Swakaruna. Swakaruna means Marathi word Swakaruna means
Compassion for
what is
yourself.
called
Just
apathy
compassion.
or
Compassion
it
for
become-
yourself. So again, it all amounts to self-care,
yeah.
right? So anything that comes under the banner of self-care. So these are all things which come under self-care. So compassion for yourself. See, it's like this. I want to make other people happy, right?
Yes.
Let's take an example. I want to give you 10,000 rupees. I have only 10 rupees in my pocket. Where will the 10,000 come from?
Yeah.
So I will give you only what I have. If
Yeah.
I am troubled, I'll give you trouble. If I am happy, I'll give you happiness. If I am anxious, I'll transmit anxiety. That's what you haven't we seen anxious parents doing that to their children? Anxious parents transmitting their anxiety to their children. So you give what, so you need to be replete with something that you want and then you share it with. That's what I said. So that is why
Yes, sir.
self-care is important.
Yeah.
So before you become altruistic, you need to understand that you need to help yourself first. That's why heal thyself.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, I got it. Yeah.
I think there's a question in the chat box, Manoj. I'll just read it out. Sir, can you advise best breathing technique to be followed before stressful situation? For example, talk on the stage or before students or something like this.
Okay. Any breathing technique which involves, first of all, it's not a breathing technique that is important. It's the awareness of your breathing that is important. Okay. See, breathing is one movement which one can appreciate. There's a movement happening, actual physical movement. Your belly expands, your chest expands, whatever that is. That's one movement in the body which is constantly happening, and it is possible to observe that. So, one is, if you're asking me for immediate anxiety reduction, the first thing that you need to come to is, just become aware of your breath. You can do it right now. All of you, just close your eyes and just watch your breath. Watch it. Don't change it. Just watch it. Just change it. Don't change it. Just look at how the breath comes in, how the breath goes out. Just watch this rise and fall of your belly or the chest. Just do it for 30 seconds. Do it for 30 seconds. Don't change anything. Just aware. Just be aware. A breath comes in, there's a gap, then the breath goes out. Again, there is a gap. The next breath comes in. Again, there is a gap, and this cycle continues. Cycle of breathing in, breathing out. You are just waiting and watching. You can open your eyes. What is the experience? You have not changed anything. You're just watching. You're just witnessing. Sakshi
Yeah.
Bhav,
Sakshi.
right? So when you are you just become a witness to your own functions, the breathing becomes relaxed, the mind becomes relaxed, the thoughts start reducing, all that happens. That is one. Secondly, so this awareness of breath is the basic thing. Then there are different breathing techniques, pranayam, there's Kapalabhati, there's Anulom Vilom, different rhythms of inhalation, exhalation. But remember one thing, if you want to relax, let the inhalation be short, exhalation long. So for example, if you want to breathe in, maybe 4 counts in. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in, 2 counts hold, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 breathe out. Again, 4 counts in, 2 counts hold, 6 counts out. A simple technique. Inhalation, 4 counts, hold for 2 counts, 6 counts, exhale. With awareness, watch it. Watch your breath as you're doing it. Watch your breath as you're doing it. So any breathing technique that you follow, if you are watching it, it adds value. Okay?
Manoj, I have a corollary to this question. Like, if I am observing my own breathing, but counting at the same time, I mean, can I focus on both? I mean, counting
You can.
and watching
You
the
can.
breath
In
also.
fact, human consciousness is two-pronged. You're doing something and watching it. That's possible. Only humans have this ability. That
Right.
is what makes us special, na?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A related question, like the breathing technique, I mean, we read about it at so many places, including mental health literature.
Yeah.
Some techniques, I mean, they propagate, as you said, I mean, focusing on the abdominal breathing. That, I mean,
That is the best and the most relaxed because it is diaphragmatic.
right.
Diaphragmatic breathing, belly breathing is most relaxed.
Yeah.
Chest
Exactly.
breathing causes a lot of anxiety.
Hmm.
So the best thing to begin with, if you want to practice belly breathing, lie horizontal. Lie on a bed, put one hand on your belly and see the hand rising and falling. So you breathe in, the hand rises, the hand falls when you breathe out. You can appreciate it much better in a horizontal position. Correct? And then in a sitting position, then without putting a hand on your belly also you can appreciate. For example, I breathe 24/7, I breathe with my belly. 24/7. If you ask me to do, I can't. I can't breathe it. It feels abnormal. Right?
I think you are also a singer, and I mean, good singing involves.
Belly breathing, yes. Yes, diaphragmatic, yes.
Yeah. One question, I think, since I mean, you have read about the topic significantly. I mean, intuitively, I think most of the psychiatrists we advise our patients, if, as you said, if they have psychosis, not to go for meditative practices. Now, is there any scientific evidence supporting this thought?
I have not come across that kind of thing because nobody advises in the first place meditation. So because for this to be evidence-based, you need to actually ask psychotics to meditate and then study, right? So which is not a practice which is advisable. So
Right, right,
I have not come across any studies like this.
right.
But in experience, we have seen.
Sir,
Mm.
can there be everyone thinks that meditation is helpful always, but are there adverse events associated with
That is
meditative
what I
practices?
said. So if wrong people do
Yeah.
it,
Mhm.
people do follow wrong techniques, then there are adverse effects. There are adverse. I have seen. I mean, there are certain techniques. For example, to go into the details, it would be not prudent at this in this session. But there are certain techniques which involve chakras, for example, the chakras in the body. So, if you are not well conversant with the chakra system and if you suddenly jump into chakra meditations, I've seen disasters happening to people. They suddenly become very angry or they become disturbed or they develop some physical conditions. So, follow a particular path, follow somebody who's a facilitator, who's a trained person, and then do it. Yeah.
Right. I don't see any more questions in the chat box. So, I mean, before Manish says any of his final.
There's one question: is
Ah.
there even a purpose of life? That purpose, there is. We give purpose to our own life, right? What is the purpose of life? You go to a jungle, there are so many beautiful flowers, so many beautiful trees which are growing everywhere. What's the purpose? There's nobody to even look at them. So many beautiful flowers, but they do exist, right? So when it comes to human beings, I think we need to understand. We need to recognize a purpose. We need to give it. We need to give purpose to our life.
But what I feel, sorry to interrupt, the majority of the individuals even don't realize or understand what are the exact purpose of life. For majority of these individuals, like you started at the start of your lecture, like we are so engrossed into these stressful activities or so much of activities which disturb the harmony of life. The majority of the individuals run behind the purpose of achieving money, name, fame, or popularity, whatever you want to name it as.
Correct.
Right. These are all materialistic gains.
So we have studied the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Which begins with basics and then goes to self-actualization. So what is that?
So majority of the people don't even realize that.
No, so we need to, so that is, so that's exactly what I'm saying, you know. In my own experience, if you see, then one starts discovering newer nuances of life, newer dimensions of life, something about yourself which you never knew. Oh, I am this. Oh, I am this. This is my problem. So it's, you discover your own strengths, your own weaknesses, your own spiritual impurities. You have become awakened to your own spiritual impurities, kind of thing. And then you start working on them. Then you keep rising. So I think the whole purpose of life, if you ask me, is learning. To learn, keep learning. That's the purpose of life.
People are so confused about this purpose.
Yes, you're right.
I think any questions? Further questions? It was a, sir, I think there are no further questions. It was a wonderful session, sir. And we came to know about what is spirituality. And sometimes there are always confusion, what is not a spirituality. That is a very clear. Many times mixology is practiced in these things, but becoming aware about self, having a compassion, having gratitude for what we are getting and what we are able to give, that helps us understand ourselves better, at the same time make us our environment better and our social, as a social person, this is what we should be aware. Sir, you have, I thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation and awakening brought to us. I thank Sudhir Bhave sir also for being present here and being active participant, and all the participants for their patient hearing and questions they have asked. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Sorry
Bye.
for-
Thank you.